The leftist media can't stop talking about the new Woodward book, a primer on the ever-growing Democratic dream team for 2020. And America responds to Colin Kaepernick's supposed sacrifice. All this and more on this edition of Truth is Making a Comeback.
Truth is making a comeback. America's top stories with Lisa K. Donner.
There is evidence this week that those on the left are making every effort to channel Richard Nixon with the presidency of Donald Trump. Ironically, it is those very same players from the Watergate era who are at the forefront. This week, the much-heralded Bob Woodward book finally hit the stands. This after the legacy media has conducted a promotional campaign with almost endless coverage as if it were the greatest literary accomplishment since War and Peace. Unfortunately, the book reads much more like a work of fiction. Among the claims that Mr. Woodward makes in his novel are: former economic advisor to the president, Gary Cohn, reportedly snatched documents off Trump's desk. White House Chief of Staff John Kelly reportedly said about the president that he's an idiot. It's pointless to try to convince him of anything. He's gone off the rails and we're in crazy town. But Kelly quickly responded with, quote, the contemptuous words about the president attributed to me in Woodward's book were never uttered by me or in my presence, unquote. Then there's the incendiary quote from Woodward, quote, Trump's lawyer told him, don't testify, it's either that or an orange jumpsuit. Then he resigned. As is his wont, the president hit back at the claims in the book and has kept up his attack on Bob Woodward.
You mean on the book?
Yes, the book. Yes.
The book means nothing. It's a work of fiction. Already General Mattis has come out very, very strongly. And I think you know General Mattis. He does what he wants to do. He's a very independent guy. He was insulted by the remarks that were attributed to him, and he came out with a very strong statement. I assume you read it. I hope you read it last night. General John Kelly, the same exact thing. He thought he was insulted by what they said. He's right here. He's insulted by, he couldn't believe what they said. And he put out a very, very strong statement, and many others, and other statements are coming out. The book is a work of fiction. If you look back at Woodward's past, he had the same problem with other presidents. He likes to get publicity, sell some books. But we have done more as an administration than any other administration in already less than 2 years.
Graham, thanks for being with us today on Truth is Making a Comeback.
You're welcome, Lisa. Nice to see you.
So it does seem like the leftist media is kind of going crazy over the Bob Woodward book. I mean, you would think they're getting a cut on the proceeds. So my question to you is, do you really think this is going to do any damage to the president?
No, I really don't think so, Lisa. I think we've basically already seen that it hasn't done him any damage. I mean, Woodward has been furiously doing the news talk show circuit, and you know, it's another one of those books. We've seen several of them now that they've come out and they've been hyped up by the legacy media, the establishment media, and it's always going to be, this is going to be the book that's going to reveal all the dirty secrets of the Trump White House and is going to bring down the president. And of course, you know, people are just, you know, shrugging them off. And I think the Woodward book is going to go the same way as that.
Right. So I'm thinking back now. Obama had a few books that were coming out against him. But are we looking at perhaps a record here?
I certainly think so. I believe that actually by the time Trump has finished his time at the White House, which of course will be 6 years from now, almost certainly, when he opens his presidential library, he's going to be able to stock it with all of the books that were written about his presidency.
That's perfect.
Tried and failed to bring him down.
You know, he could maybe start his own presidential library with all the books that were against him, but it's interesting because person after person after person seems, you know, from Kelly to Mattis to whoever, they seem sort of stunned that some of these comments were attributed to them.
Yeah, and I'm sure they are. I mean, you know, one could speculate that, Are there a couple of people in the White House, maybe amongst the Trump staff, who are less than happy with what's going on? But I couldn't for the life of me imagine why that necessarily would be. I know Trump, personality wise, he might be the kind of guy that maybe possibly could rub certain people the wrong way. So are there maybe personality conflicts in the White House? Quite possibly. I'm sure there were in the Obama White House as well, because he had a lot of strong-willed characters around him. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think probably a lot of the people who have had quotes attributed to them are probably horrified.
Right, but if we look at it, between the anonymous op-ed from the New York Times and the Woodward book, Trump's getting hammered. And I wrote a piece on Sunday that actually took me a long time to put together, because there are so many people out there that are talking about this fact, that this is an apocalyptic time for Trump, that the end is near. Do you really believe that to be the case?
No, not at all. I just think that's silly. I think they are those people who want to see Trump gone are being wildly optimistic, and I think they're trying to keep their own spirits up by fueling their own wild fantasies of the Trump presidency going down in flames. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, so maybe it's wishful thinking. Listen, Graham, we want to thank you very much for joining us. We know that you and your wife are in the path of the hurricane. We pray you guys will stay safe, and thanks so much for joining us. That's Graham J. Noble, Chief Political Correspondent for Liberty Nation. The Colin Kaepernick Nike nexus is drawing fire from all across America. It seems that the sports apparel company thought that Kaepernick would be a perfect pitchman for them. So they put ads up all over the place saying, quote, "Believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything." But this isn't going down well with a lot of folks. YouTube is slammed with people taking issue with the ad campaign. Liberty Nation culled through hundreds of those YouTubes and has what we believe to be some of the best ones for you. Let's watch.
Can someone explain something to me today? I'm a little slow. I'm a little off today. So riddle me this, Batman. What the hell did Colin Kaepernick sacrifice? I honestly believe that the great detective himself, the Dark Knight, couldn't solve that one. Let me remind you guys that this man opted out of his contract, all right? They were trying to negotiate. He said no, deuces. That's what happened there. Then he tries to sue the NFL talking about they don't want me to play. How they don't want you to play when you're the one that opted out of the contract in the first place? We'll put a pin in that. We'll get to that later. Next, we have this man talking about oppression and all of this. We have this dude talking about oppression while during this whole time, unbeknownst to everyone else, he was getting bankrolled by Nike. This dude went from making millions to making more millions. But he wants to talk about oppression. You know what? I speak on behalf of I would say a majority of black people. Can you give us just a little bit of oppression? I mean, not all of the oppression you're going through from going from millions to more millions, but give us a little bit of oppression. I'm talking, maybe like 500K worth of oppression. Can you offer that up, please?
I want to talk about how Nike said he's sacrificing everything. Everything? You mean like when you come out as a black conservative and you start believing in, I don't know, freedom and liberty, and you start believing in picking yourself up by your own bootstraps, and your whole family and your cousins and your friends and every black person that you've ever known ostracize you? Have you lost everything like that, Cap? You still a millionaire. You still can go on TV, you can do whatever the hell you want. The View, any show will put you on. Nike agrees with you. The corporations now agree with you. Walmart, everybody agree with you. Everybody disagree with us. The black conservatives, we come out and say we voting for Trump. We come out and say, you know what? Instead of blaming the police brutality, let's talk about black on black crime. We come out talking about Planned Parenthood and how they're killing 800 of us a day. We come out talking about how the Democrats have ran and owned our neighborhoods for over 60, 70 years, and how they got us living in urban plantations and how they've done nothing for us. We come out talking about that to lose everything. You sacrifice nothing.
That's why I get tired of people just drum beating the same narrative about, it's not about the flag. He's not talking about the military. Nate Boyer at the Green Beret told him to, look, it's not about the flag. Look, this man, when asked by a reporter, said, I will not stand for a flag or country that represents the oppression of black people. He said it's about the flag. So I don't know. You need to take that up with him. He said it is. Everybody's saying it's not about the flag. He said it's about the flag. So I don't get it. You see, we have to hold people accountable to their words.
Now, going back to the quote, if you look at the first few words, believe in something. They didn't say believe in truth. They didn't say believe in facts, data, believe in what's right. They said believe in something. You know who believed in something? Thanos believed in something. You know who also believed in something? Hitler believed in something. Even, sacrifice everything as long as you believe in something. That is the problem, what's going on right now. People are believing in something despite having any facts, any data, anything bolstering their argument. But they're believing in something. You want to know who else believes in something that holds that same belief, that same ideology that you put on this little campaign? Terrorists, suicide bombers.
It was Labor Day weekend in Chicago. 6 dead. Do you know that in Chicago, more than 1,000 people have been shot just since Memorial Day? See, that's quite a lot. And why is he talking about potential crimes centuries old when there's actual slaughters going on in the here and now? Care about slavery? There are currently open-air slave markets in Libya because of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama destroying Muammar Gaddafi, opening up the gateways of migrants to pour into Europe and destroying the country as a whole. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. Well, 95% of blacks voted for Barack Obama, and the vast majority of blacks supported Hillary Clinton. Both of them have created conditions that have reintroduced slavery into Libya, where you can buy a human being for $400. Slavery is still being practiced in many countries around the world. Why do you need to go back through this tunnel of time to find a slavery that has been repudiated and rejected and outlawed when you have over 40 million people around the world who are victims of slavery as of 2016? A quarter of those are children. You have more than 10 million slaves in the world right now. Again, not even counting North Korea. Do you care about slavery? I think you don't. I think you care about sowing division. I think you care about getting money. I think you care about fame. I think you care about attention. Do you actually care about slavery? Because it's going on right now. And what are you doing about it?
And now for my parting shot. The leftist media has prophesized that we are living in the final days of Trump. This is because they believe the apocalypse began the day Donald J. Trump was elected President of the United States. Think this is an exaggeration? On MSNBC's The 11th Hour with Brian Williams, the prophet John Meacham recently said, quote, "This is a real-time final days playing out." The Washington Post published a story titled, "Trump is mirroring Nixon's final days." The New Yorker's Adam Davidson penned a piece about the, quote, "end stage of the Trump presidency." Just 1 week later, the History News Network wrote, "The end of the Trump presidency now looms." Then there's Andrew Sullivan, who asked, "Is this the beginning of Trump's end?" in the Daily Intelligencer. There's more, so much more, but you get the point. It seems that those on the left have all read the book of Democratic Revelation and are making up scripture as they go. In their warped world, the time has come to topple this presidency. And so the establishment media, the Democrats who despise the president, and those within the Republican Party who cannot stand the fact that Trump is their commander-in-chief, are crying out for Armageddon. Yep, they can't stop screaming from the rooftops that the end is near, Trump is history. Since the inauguration of Donald Trump, the left has been deploying an air assault against the American people with multiple sorties. They have conducted an alternate reality through their denialism. This is because they refuse to accept the truth, so they become irrational in their anger and begin to distort reality. When the president calls MS-13 gang members animals, they immediately turn this into a storyline that says Trump is calling all illegal immigrants animals. Then they can quote Nancy Pelosi, who says calling people animals is not a good thing. As members of the media take their bits of human interest, add a dash of truth, stir it up in their cauldron of loathing for the president, and dish it out day after day, their readers and viewers start to buy whatever left-wing storyline the media is peddling about Trump at any given moment. Through their numerous memes, they feel empowered and even ready for the Battle of Armageddon. But this is where they make a crucial mistake. You see, Revelation, where the only mention of the word Armageddon occurs, is a prophetic look at the final confrontation between God and Satan. It is the ultimate battle between good and evil, where God pours his wrath out on the unrepentant, and good triumphs for all eternity with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Some believe this will mean an actual physical fight that will take place here on earth. Others interpret it as a symbolic or figurative conflict that depicts the final destruction of evil. As Democrats and the legacy media make their way down the rugged path to Tel Megiddo, it might be best if they stopped and read the end of the book. So settle up, ladies and gentlemen, because if the left is calling for Armageddon to oust a duly elected president from office, they may be surprised to find that they have begun a fight they cannot win. And that's my parting shot. Coming up next week on LibertyNation.com, the midterms get closer than ever, the aftermath of the hurricane, and more attacks on Trump. All this and more on LibertyNation.com. I'm Lisa K. Donner, Editor-in-Chief. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Truth is making a comeback. Visit us at LibertyNation.com.